You wake up every day and you go through the motions. Maybe it's work, maybe it's obligations, maybe it's just the relentless weight of responsibilities and expectations pulling you forward. You put one foot in front of the other, moving through the world, acting out your role in a play you never auditioned for. You tell yourself it's the grind. You tell yourself it's the cost of success, the price of survival, but deep down you know something feels off. You know that the life you're living isn't really yours. You're chasing someone else's dream, working towards someone else's idea of success. You're not living for yourself. You're living to fix the broken pieces of other people's lives. You're carrying the weight of their regrets, their unfulfilled desires, their unmet needs, and somehow you've become convinced that if you can just fix their story, yours will fall into place. But here's the truth. You're not living your life. You're living to fix theirs. The story of your life has become an echo of everyone else's fears, insecurities, and unfinished business. Your parents, your teachers, your society, they've shaped your perception of who you are and who you should be. And every time you try to live for yourself, every time you try to break free, you get pulled back into their narrative. You act out of the desire to please them, to fix their brokenness, to fill the gaps they left behind. You're trying to heal wounds that aren't yours to heal. You're trying to live a life that belongs to someone else. But here's the thing. You can't fix someone else's life. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you sacrifice, you will never heal someone else's pain. You cannot carry their burdens and live your own life at the same time. Yet, that is exactly what you've been doing, living out their unhealed wounds, their regrets, their dreams that never came to fruition, all in the name of survival, success, or approval. It's a trap. And the longer you stay in it, the more you lose yourself. You're not building your life. You're living someone else's unfinished story. So why does it feel so hard to break free from this cycle? Why does it feel impossible to live authentically, to step into your own truth? The reason is simple. You've been conditioned to believe that your worth is tied to fixing others. From the moment you were born, you were taught that your value comes from what you do for others. Your parents needed you to be a reflection of their success. Society needed you to play a role, to fit into a box. Your teachers, your friends, your colleagues, they all wanted something from you. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you began to define yourself by how well you could meet their needs, by how much you could fix the broken parts of their lives. But here's the cruel irony. The more you try to fix others, the more you lose yourself. You can't save someone else's soul while sacrificing your own. And yet, you've been doing it, haven't you? You've been the fixer, the caretaker, the person who always puts others first. You've neglected your own desires, your own dreams, your own needs, because somewhere along the way, you were convinced that your purpose was to heal the wounds of others. What if I told you that your life is not a tool for fixing anyone else? What if I told you that your purpose is not to play the role of savior, not to bend yourself into someone else's image, but to step into the full power of who you are and live your truth, not to fix, but to create? The truth is, you can't live your life fully while you're living to fix someone else's. You will never be truly fulfilled, never truly content, as long as you are living to meet the expectations of others, to fix the brokenness that isn't yours to mend. You are not a repairman, you are a creator, and it's time to stop fixing and start building. What does it look like to stop fixing and start creating? It means stepping out of the roles you've been forced into, the expectations that have been placed upon you, and choosing to define yourself by what you truly want, not by what others need from you. It means walking away from the toxic patterns of people-pleasing and stepping into your own power. To create is to define your life, to give it meaning and purpose on your own terms. It's about choosing the narrative you want to live, not the one that's been handed to you. It's about breaking free from the weight of other people's pain and living authentically. And yes, that might mean disappointing others. It might mean letting go of relationships that have been built on unhealthy dynamics, relationships where you've been expected to be the healer, the fixer, the one who always sacrifices their own well-being for the sake of others. But here's the thing. In order to truly help others, you must first help yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. The first step in this journey is to stop outsourcing your worth. Your value is not determined by how much you can fix, how much you can give, or how much you can please others. Your worth is inherent, just as it is. And once you internalize this truth, you can begin to break free from the need to prove your value through service to others. You can stop using their expectations as a measure of your own success. Next, you must release the burden of other people's pain. You cannot heal the wounds that were never yours to begin with. It's time to stop trying to fix someone else's brokenness. If someone else's pain is consuming you, it's because you've allowed it to. You've allowed their problems to define your actions, your choices, your life. But the only person whose healing is in your control is your own. And that is where your focus must be. Once you shift your energy away from fixing and start focusing on creating, you'll begin to see the world differently. No longer will you be defined by the chaos of other people's lives. Instead, you will begin to forge your own path, one that is aligned with your true purpose, your authentic desires, your personal growth. This isn't about being selfish. It's about being self-full. It's about recognizing that your life matters. It matters because it's yours. Your journey is not an endless cycle of fixing broken people. It is an opportunity to live fully, to grow, to create something meaningful that comes from the depths of your soul. And this is where the power lies. When you stop fixing, you begin to build. You begin to create the life that is yours, not a life that is dictated by the brokenness of others. You start to prioritize your own healing, your own growth, your own truth. You become the architect of your destiny, no longer a passive bystander to the script that others have written for you. The moment you release the need to fix others, you reclaim your life. You reclaim your freedom. You stop being a mere reflection of everyone else's expectations and start being a beacon of your own creation. So what will you choose? Will you continue to live someone else's story, trying to fix the pieces of their broken lives? Or will you step into your own power, start building your own life, and live fully in alignment with who you were always meant to be? The choice is yours. Stop fixing and start living. You've been told that if you don't put others first, you're selfish. That if you don't help, if you don't sacrifice, if you don't bend until you break, you aren't living a virtuous life. You've internalized these messages so deeply that they become your compass. The problem is, they've been pointing you in the wrong direction all along. There's a reason why we idolize the martyr, the person who gives everything for others, who neglects themselves, who sacrifices for the greater good. We've been conditioned to believe that suffering equals virtue. But let me tell you something fundamental. You cannot create greatness out of sacrifice. True greatness is born of creation, not destruction. The more you destroy yourself to fix someone else, the less you have left to create something of your own. Your life is not a placeholder for someone else's story. You are not here to be a supporting character, to patch up others' cracks with your own shattered pieces. And yet we've all done it. We've all bent our backs for the sake of others, pretending that by making their lives easier, we will somehow earn the right to live our own. It's a lie. Your self-worth is not determined by how much you can fix others. But you've been raised in a world that tells you the opposite. From childhood, you've been taught to put others first, to serve others, to be the caretaker, the helper, the fixer. It feels noble, doesn't it? To be the one people turn to when they are in need. To be the one who always knows how to make things better. But at what cost? What happens to the person who is always there for everyone else but never for themselves? It's the quietest kind of suffering, the kind you can't see from the outside. It's the loss of your own identity, the slow erosion of your dreams, the parts of you that you bury because there's no time for them. Your life becomes an endless cycle of meeting the needs of others while your own needs are left on the shelf to collect dust. You stop questioning what you want. You stop asking what brings you joy, what fuels your soul. You forget how to dream for yourself because you're too busy trying to patch up someone else's life. You're stuck in a loop of self-neglect, of codependency, of emotional survival. You've made the lives of others your project, but what you fail to see is that while you're busy fixing their brokenness, you're letting yours fall apart. What you need to understand is that your life, your purpose, your dreams are not negotiable. They are not things to be sacrificed for someone else's comfort. The moment you start living for others is the moment you stop living for yourself. The moment you put your dreams on hold for someone else's unresolved wounds is the moment you give up your birthright, the right to create the life you desire, the life you were meant to live. Now, there's no shame in wanting to help others. There's no shame in being compassionate, being a source of support, being the person others can rely on. But you must ask yourself, am I helping them at the cost of my own well-being? Am I putting their needs before my own dreams? If the answer is yes, it's time to make a shift. It's time to take back your life. And taking back your life doesn't mean cutting people off. It doesn't mean rejecting the need for connection or for compassion. It means that you stop living to fix others' problems and start living to create your own. There's a world of difference between helping someone while maintaining your own integrity and pouring yourself out until there is nothing left. You cannot continue to pour from an empty cup. To live for yourself is to reclaim your time, your energy, your focus. It's about setting boundaries and saying no to things that drain you. It's about recognizing that you cannot be everything to everyone, and in trying to be, you dilute your own power. Every time you stretch yourself too thin to meet someone else's needs, you lose a part of yourself. And when that happens, it's only a matter of time before you wake up and realize that you have nothing left to give. So what does it mean to truly live your life? It means that you begin to prioritize yourself, your dreams, your desires, your passions. It means you stop making the needs of others your top priority and start making your own needs a priority. It means you stop pretending that your worth is tied to what you can do for others and instead start acknowledging your value as a human being simply because you are. You have the right to live a life of purpose, not a life defined by the expectations of others, but a life that is yours, that comes from within you. It's the kind of life where you set the direction, not because you're selfish, but because you are wise enough to understand that your happiness and well-being are the foundation from which everything else flows. The first step in living your life is to shed the weight of other people's expectations, to stop living under the shadow of their unhealed wounds, their projections, and their demands. It's time to step into your own light, to start making choices from a place of alignment with who you truly are, not who you've been conditioned to be. And here's the thing, you can't please everyone. You will never be able to satisfy every need, to solve every problem, to heal every wound. The moment you accept that fact, you will feel a profound sense of relief. The pressure will lift. You will no longer feel as if you are drowning in the needs of others, trying to patch up their lives at the expense of your own. Living your life doesn't mean being indifferent to others. It doesn't mean abandoning your responsibility to care, to love, and to support. But it does mean that you can no longer live in service to the brokenness of others. You are not a tool to be used to fix their lives. You are a person with your own needs, your own journey, and your own story to create. The second step is to create space for your own vision. You need to start dreaming again. You need to begin asking yourself, what do I want? Not what does anyone else want? Not what will make someone else happy, but what will fill me up? What excites me? What can I create that is uniquely mine? And as you start to create, you must protect that vision. You must guard it fiercely. People will try to pull you back into their problems. They will try to convince you that you need to fix their issues, solve their dilemmas, meet their needs, but you must resist the pull. Every choice you make from this point forward should be an affirmation of your commitment to live for yourself. Every action, every decision, every move you make should be fueled by your desire to create, not to fix. When you choose to live for yourself, something remarkable happens. You begin to attract people, situations, and opportunities that resonate with your energy. No longer will you feel trapped in relationships that drain you. Stop measuring your worth by how much you can give and start measuring it by the value you place on yourself. You don't have to save anyone. You don't have to fix their brokenness. You don't have to take on their pain. You only need to focus on creating the life that is waiting for you, your life. And the moment you start living it, you will finally understand the power of this truth. Your purpose is not to fix others. Your purpose is to create your own greatness.